Hi, and welcome to this week's Team Talk, you very precious, long-suffering, special people. I say that on the backbone of the fact that Steph last week mentioned that the eagle has landed. And some would be asking, well, what eagle and where has it landed? And I have to just tell you that Ted is back. And the latest is that he now identifies as an eagle. I'm more inclined to think that Ted flew like lead. And I have to tell you that it's remarkably distracting. So I'm just going to, yeah, exactly. Oh, what's this? Jeez, my boy. That's pretty hectic. You just sit down there. I don't think we need you in this for much further. And so my purpose today is just to say thank you for your incredible patience. I want to take you guys on a bit of a journey because I have to recognize from your side that you've probably been wondering an awful lot about many things over this time. So let's just take some snippets back in our journey. If we were to think back to 2020, so much for 2020 vision. Hey, we really wondered what happened last year. But there were many things that happened last year. We do recognize that God was not surprised by any of this. He gave the world an amazing shake. He gave us an amazing shake, and we all had to acknowledge that life was going to happen very differently. And we found that we were called to a place of rest. Lockdown was one part of it, but there was a much bigger picture. Here at New Gen, we recognized what God was asking of us, and that was actually to rest in Him and to come to a space where we started to prioritize the things that were truly important to us. Many of us had much more time with family. We had opportunities to really have the deep conversations and to do amazing things. But within all of that, it got to a stage where people were saying, when will we gather? When will we gather? And we had a moment where we were able to open up our Sunday fellowship groups and people were able to gather. And I have to say that over that period, our Sunday fellowship groups absolutely flourished. At a time when we were not able to meet in any kind of numbers, the Sunday fellowship groups began to take a real momentum. And we heard stories, amazing stories of how people had done authentic church and really loved the context of what that means. Over and above that, last year was dedicated to Taste and See, the initiative where the poor, the hungry were fed. It was a phenomenal opportunity for us to partner, to help fund and to feed so many people. Taste and See continues, but it was birthed out of last year. We met when we could, we had our prayer groups when we could, and we introduced the Sunday Scrum. And the Sunday Scrum was introduced for those who couldn't get to the Sunday fellowship groups and used in part at those Sunday fellowship groups. But there were those folk who were just distanced from what was happening within the gathering of the body. And so, just to reiterate, that we have been gathering. We've had our Sunday fellowship groups and we've used the opportunities that we've had to do it well. Someone said to me, you do realize that we're going to have a decade of COVID. We need to acknowledge that this is our reality for 10 years ahead. I nearly had a heart attack when that idea was put to me, but I've been thinking about it for quite a while now. And I've realized that as much as we would hope and pray that that is not true, it's not a bad thing to actually have that mindset. The reason why I say it is because some of us are fixated on going back to how it was. It's about the good times we used to have. The reality is we live in these days, in the present, in a time where we need to adapt and realign our thinking to the fact that, no, this is our present. And so it's with that in mind that we also can take stock of the fact that we are now more informed. We are more adept in handling the situations. Hopefully we're going to learn to manage a whole lot better. And maybe some examples of that were in May last year. Do you recall that we weren't allowed to eat Woolworths chicken? That we weren't allowed to wear open-toed shoes? Heaven forbid that those kind of rules come back. We also sit at this stage with a lot more information. There are surveys being done, there's information being recognized, and it's not to say that it's all totally conclusive, but it all helps and guides as a tool towards how we handle these situations a whole lot better. It has also led to highly adaptable leadership, a need to actually acknowledge that there are ebbs and flows within what is happening. And with that in mind, we can't actually put stakes in the ground. In fact, if anything, church, amongst many other things, corporate life and doing life, has become incredibly messy. And the reason I say that is that in corporate circles, there was this idea of what's your 5-year plan? Give us your budgets for the next 3 years. I think we might find that just a little bit laughable if we look at it in our situation, because for most of us, we're pretty unsure about what happens in the next month or two. And so it's with that in mind that the idea of structure and plans is a good thing. We must plan. We need to have a perspective on that, but we also need to be increasingly flexible. And as a church, we are looking to be exactly that. It's messy though. And so, sooner want to put that stake in the ground than you realize that, hey, it's not exactly there to stay. Things may well shift. And then I just want to mention about the new gen leadership and what has taken us through this phase. Firstly, I just want to say to you, thank you so much for praying for the leadership of New Gen, for the elders and all those that lead in the groups. I don't know that you will ever realize just how important that has been in helping our leadership come before God and make decisions that we believe will be in the interest of the body of Christ within our context and our community. And so we have taken our direction and our cue from God. We have spent months now actually before Him, asking Him what He expects of us, what is His will for us, what is His desire for us, what are we to do or not do. And as you've realized, we are doing things differently. But I do want to assure you that we are doing them before God. We take our succor from Him. We take our cue from Him. We want to hear from Him. We had a person within our group over this time who actually shared with us a picture of a huge wave coming at us. And there were those that were going away from the wave. But we turned and we looked into that wave. And if anything, that for me is a picture of looking at it differently, being able to perceive it differently, and knowing that behind us is a God who's got this thing in His control. And so we find ourselves in a long process. We find ourselves not bowing to the loudest voice or the voice of man. We really want to be a people that is before God. And so that gets me to the fact that this Sunday's scrum is going to be incredibly important. I so want to encourage you, in fact, implore you to make sure that you make time to watch the Sunday scrum this Sunday. Because I do want to tell you that not Ted, but the eagle, the real eagle, has landed. But the big reveal is actually going to take place this Sunday. And it is just so important for you to be there. So please watch. Thanks for putting up with me and my nonsense. I look forward to catching up with you. Bye.